بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد, my brothers and sisters, we are looking at the lessons we learn from Surah Al-Kahf. May Allah Ta'ala give us a tawfiq to learn the lessons with the intention of applying them in our lives, because that is the purpose of the revelation, the nuzul of the Quran, to apply it in our lives and to live our lives according to the Quran, because in that there is khair and barakah for us in this life and the next life. We looked at the lessons, the test of knowledge, the test of wealth. We looked at the test of faith and the test of wealth, and now we are looking at the test of knowledge. And that is the story of Musa alayhi salam and Khidr alayhi salam, where Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him on his own request to meet Khidr alayhi salam and to learn something from him which Musa alayhi salam did not know. Now, many times people have this hierarchy of who is bigger, who is smaller. All of this is not from our deen. We do not sit and decide who is bigger and who is smaller. Musa alayhi salam is the Rasul and the Nabi of the time, Sahibul Kitab, Sahibul Sharia, and Khidr alayhi salam has his own importance. Musa alayhi salam was sent to the entire Ummah of Bani Israel, people of Bani Israel. Khidr alayhi salam was not sent to any community. We say he is a Nabi because Rasulullah said he is a Nabi, and because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said he is an abd from his ibad. So the lesson that we learn from this whole story of Musa alayhi salam going to Khidr alayhi salam to learn, and not vice versa. He didn't call Khidr alayhi salam to himself. Allah did not send Khidr to Musa alayhi salam. So the first lesson and the most important lesson we learn is that to gain knowledge, we need to go to the teacher, we need to be humble, and we need to obey. These are the conditions. You don't go to the teacher to teach the teacher. You don't go to the teacher with the intention of criticizing the teacher. When we were growing up, हमको सिखाया जाता था कि बड़ों की गलती पकड़ना गलती है. There is a level of respect. Even if your teacher makes a mistake, you don't correct the teacher. That's not your job. Your job is to obey the teacher. And if the mistake is of a kind which needs to be corrected, then the thing to do is to find somebody who is at the level of the teacher or higher and request them to do it. It's not your job to do it. Because there is no learning without adab. Adab is the key that opens the door of learning. Actual learning is not a question of how much data we accumulate in our heads. It is the digestion of that. It is the what comes out of it, the maghaz of that. So no learning without adab, number one. Number two, the teacher's dua for you is critical to understanding, and that will never happen unless you have a relationship based on love with the teacher. Unless the teacher loves you and you love the teacher is like a father to you, like the mother to you, depending on whether the teacher is a man or a woman, and you are like the child of the teacher. Because this is the relationship. It's a parent-child relationship in the field of learning. And unless the teacher is making dua for you, learning will never happen. And for the teacher to make dua for you, you have to Be there, be respectful, be obedient, serve the teacher. And that's why I always also advise teachers when I advise them that the teacher must love the student and be interested enough in that student to teach the student. So when you go to a teacher, one of the first things to ascertain and to be sure about is whether, I call it the chemistry test, which is that is there a chemistry? Do you agree on things, and do you like the teacher? Does the teacher like you, and so on? It's because otherwise it won't happen. Learning will not happen. And that's the reason also why this whole practice we have of teaching students and then beating them and punishing them, and this doesn't work. This does not work. If a student is not learning, for whatever reason, maybe he is not intelligent enough, maybe he is very intelligent, so you are, the way you're teaching is not engaging his mind. Maybe he's just, mischievous. Whatever it is, there is a problem, so solve it. And the solution to the problem is not beating. It cannot be, right? It cannot be beating. You don't even do that to animals. Beating the animal doesn't teach the animal anything. You solve the problem. Why is this person not interested in the teaching? If you don't solve that problem, teaching won't happen. You can't beat knowledge into somebody, right? It's not a hammer and tongs thing. Hammer it into his head somehow. It doesn't work like that. It has to come, and therefore, teaching is a very not just an important job, but it's a very difficult and tough thing. It's not easy. That's the reason why some wise person, they compare teaching to gardening. Right? You plant something in the garden. You cannot force it to grow. What does the gardener do? The gardener creates conditions which are conducive to growth. He first prepares the soil, then he plants the seed, then he waters it, and then he looks after it. He makes sure that there is no disease and pathogen and whatnot. If there is, he sprays whatever he has to spray. He makes sure that some animal does not come and eat up his plant. He fences it. This is what he can't force it to grow. If it is not growing, he will make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it grow, but he can't force it to grow. The plant will grow. It will grow in its own good time. You cannot force it to grow. You have to be patient, and you have to create conditions which are conducive to growth. Conditions which encourage the plant to grow. Right? That's the whole thing about teaching. Teaching is to create conditions for the plant to grow, not to try to force the plant. And this is what we don't seem to understand, especially, this is one of the most strange things, especially in the teaching of religious knowledge, and even there in the teaching, memorizing of the Quran. The most beating happens in the Darut Tahfiz, in memorization of Quran. For what? So what happens to a lot of students, especially the ones who have difficulty, and memorizing Quran is a very difficult thing. It's not easy. That's why you have to respect the Hufaz. They have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to memorize. It's not easy. It's very difficult. It's repetitive. It is rotative. You get tired with it, and you have to continuously do dawr till you die. It's the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said the Quran is like a camel without a rope. It won't stay there. It'll just go away unless you tie it. And the tying of the rope is the dawr. It's going on, repeating. No matter how powerful you think your memory is, if you do not repeat, if you do not recite the Quran, it will go away. Especially when you are doing Imamah. It's happened to me many times. I know the surah. I read it every day. There is no doubt in my mind about it. But we are standing and reciting here, you forget. क्या अब ये ह्यूमन बीइंग इंसान है, भूल चूक है इंसान के अंदर. हम जानते हैं कि आयत आती है, ऐसा नहीं है नहीं आती, यहाँ आके गलती होती, यहाँ आके वो आयत भूल जाती. So it is very important for us to understand this, the difficulty of this, and that will not be solved by beating. This is what my point is. This help them to understand. Right? I want to close with a story, and Maulana sitting here, he knows the place. I was in his mother's one day, many years ago. All these were little boys. So I went to the Darut Hafiz. Banan Sahib the. Abdul Manan Sahib was the Ustad for Tafiz. So he is a very good friend of mine. So he invited me, आइए बैठिए. Then he said, हज़रत किसी का बच्चों का कुछ सुनिए किसी से. Ask somebody to read for you. So one boy came, he sat, and he said, I said, okay, sunao. So he was reading Surah Ankabut. So he came to the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ ثِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَى الْخَلْقِ. Right? So قُلْ ثِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَى الْخَلْقِ. Now where we were sitting, there is a door I was sitting right next to the door of the room, and then there is an open courtyard of the madrasa. So there were some chickens grazing. So I told the boy to stop, he stopped. So I said, उधर देखिए तो क्या है? उन्होंने कहा तो मुर्गा है. I said, what is it? He said, the chickens. So I said, what are they doing? He said, they are feeding. So I said, what do they eat? So he said, कीड़े पतंगे ये खाते. They eat insects and so on and whatever. So I said, you just read this ayat of the surah. What did you understand? From that ayah, look at this. आपने क्या समझा? वो बेचारा उसको क्या मालूम क्या आप समझा उसको. वो आयत भी तो समझ के नहीं पढ़ रहा है, वो तो सिर्फ उसको याद कर रहा है, रट रहा है. तो इसे मैं नहीं समझा. तो ऐसे आपने समझा कि आपने जब जो पढ़े आप समझते क्या है? नहीं समझते. So then I said, do you understand what you read? He said, no. And then I explained to him. I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, जाओ दुनिया में सीरू फिल अर्द, सफ़र करो, घूमो दुनिया के अंदर. फंजुर देखो, कैफ बदल खल्क, कैसे हमने खिलकत की है, हाँ किस तरह हमने चीज़ें बनाई हैं. ऐसे अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला says, go travel in the land and see how we have created things. समझ गए? Have you understood? Yes. So now what do you understand from this? Still, because that's not how we teach. This is the problem. We don't teach in this way. We do not relate what he's reading to something which is happening in front of him. So he can now, it does make sense. He's just memorizing the words. Then I asked him, I said कि वो मुर्गी को अगर एक छिपकली मिल गई तो खा जाएगी? तो हाँ जी खा जाएगी. I said, if it gets a lizard, will it eat it? A gecko? He said, yes. So I said, अगर ये छिपकली आप खा गए तो क्या होगा? He said, मर जाएंगे. I said, if you eat the lizard, what happens? I'll die. I said, मुर्गी मरती है? ऐसे नहीं मरती है. अच्छा ऐसे मुर्गी छिपकली खा गई, उसके बाद में उस मुर्गी को आप ज़िबा करके उसका आपने खुरमा बनाया और आपने खुरमा खाया तो आप बनेंगे? नहीं मरेंगे. I said, the chicken ate the lizard. It didn't die. It doesn't die. Then you slaughter the chicken, you make khorma, you eat the khorma, the curry. Will you die? He said, no, I won't die. I said, now do you understand? قُلْ ثِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَى الْخَلْقِ. अब उसका आँख खुली, मुँह खुला. He said, हाँ. ऐसा अल्लाह ने सिखाया है. ये तो हमने कैसा बनाया? एक चीज़ जो तुम्हारे लिए जहरीली है, जब वो चीज़ किसी और के ज़रिए से तुम तक पहुँचती है, वो तो छुपे दिखाई दे उसी के साथ कुछ, वो जहर उसका मुअत्तल हो गया, आपको कुछ नहीं होता. अल्लाह ने आपको महफूज कर दिया. Something which is poisonous for you, when it goes through something else, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting you from this poison. That poison doesn't affect you anymore. He said, now do you understand? He understands. So when you teach in that way, Right? This is the thing. I was in Kerala once, and it was a school, some function, and I was the chief guest, and children were reciting Quran, the demonstration was bada. So one child is reciting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. So Abu, छोटा बच्चा, he is فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ أَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ Abu बोलते था. So I stopped him. I said, reply. He doesn't know what I'm saying. मैंने कहा जवाब दो भाई, उसको पता नहीं मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. He doesn't know what I'm saying. I said, you read something just now. He said, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. What does it mean? He said, where are you going? I explained to him. I said, where is who going? I said, who is saying فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? किसका कलाम है? कौन पूछ रहा है सवाल? अल्लाह ताला पूछ रहा है. किससे पूछ रहे हैं? तुमसे पूछ रहे हैं. فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. Where are you going? So if I ask you something, कहता मौलाना आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? मौलाना where are you going? He is telling me, मौलाना कहाँ जा रहे हैं? मौलाना कहाँ जा? अरे मैंने अजीब आदमी, आप मेरा मजाक उड़ा रहे भाई. This is what will I say? You are making fun of me. आप तो मेरा मजाक उड़ा रहे. I am asking you a question. वही सवाल मुझसे आप दोहरा रहे हो. उस सवाल को कहाँ जा? अरे कहाँ जा रहे? कहाँ जा? मुझे बताओ कहाँ जा रहे हो? कहाँ जाने का जवाब तो कहाँ जा रहे नहीं हो सकता ना भाई. Allah is asking, where are you going? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, this life you are living like as if you have no sense. Do you even consider कहाँ जा रहे हो? जहन्नम की तरफ जा रहे हो? जन्नत की तरफ आ जाओ. That is the meaning. فَإِنَ تَذَوُونَ सवाल है कुरान के अंदर. فَإِنَ تَذَوُونَ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ सवाल है. कितनी नेमतों का झूठ लाओगे भाई? Allah is asking a question. How many of Allah's blessings will you deny? Where are you going? जवाब दो कहाँ जा रहे हो? Reply to the question. Now, the problem is we teach the Quran al-Karim purely sound. ये आयत है, उसको आपने रट लिया, उसको हो गया, बस अब हाफिज कुरान हो गया, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह खलास हमारा हिस्सा. अरे भाई उसका मतलब ये दवा है, आपके रूह की दवा है. वो दवा की शीशी को आप, उसका नाम और शीशी के ऊपर जो लिखा है उसके लेवल को आप पढ़ रहे हो, दवा खाते नहीं हो, आपका इसलिए रूह का है, रूह की तो कवाड़ा हो गया. The kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the medicine for the soul. All you are doing is reading the label, reading the ingredients. You are supposed to eat that thing. You are supposed to take the medicine. Then the soul is cured. You don't take the medicine. The soul is still sick. The soul is dying. वो तो मरी जा रही है. This is what we are learning. When you go to the teacher, go with humility, go with adab, go with the sense of dire need. It is my need to learn from this teacher. It's not the teacher's need to teach you. The teacher can teach anybody. Allah did not put your name and say, you have to teach Yavar Beg. No. If the teacher denies and say, I will not teach, then it's a problem with the teacher. Allah has given you knowledge, you are supposed to disseminate his knowledge, but he is not compelled to teach you. He can teach anybody. But it is your need. You go to the teacher with a sense of this, like you go to a doctor. Takleef mein aap mar ja rahe, you go to the doctor, you are in terrible agony. You go, whose need is it? My need. No, please, I have to see the doctor now. He's busy. No, busy. I want to see him. That is the way. You go to the teacher with this need. And Allah is showing this. Here is this Jalil Qadar Rasul Allah ke hai, Musa alayhi salam. He goes like a student. Khidr alayhi salam says, you will not have patience. No, I will have patience. Please teach me. I will be your student. वो क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ तो देखेंगे. But my point is that he is going with humility, with adab. So I remind myself and you, let us develop the right attitude. The attitude comes before everything else. If you have the right attitude, then we get the benefit. A comes before B. First attitude, then benefit. There is no benefit before attitude. If the attitude of adab is not there, there is no benefit. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our hearts to His knowledge, to the knowledge of his kitab, to the knowledge of the teachings of his blessed Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to enable us to implement that in our lives. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.